I am super excited to be back today with Robin Aleksovitch. Thank you, Robin.
Thank you for having me.
I love the universe, and one of the things that Robin is going to share with us, and we're going to talk about today, is energy and frequency medicine, and even just energy connecting. I mean, that's how we connected, essentially, right? It was like one
Mhm.
person I was energetically drawn to, had a conversation with, which led me to another person. Then all of a sudden, we knew we had mutual friends. And I just think that's how energy works. We're drawn to exactly who we need to be drawn to. And here you are. So, Robin has been a registered nurse for over 35 years. She has worked as a nurse in cardiac, behavioral, and school nursing. She has seen the impact stress plays on the body, mind, and spirit. Over the last 10 years, she began a journey of holistic wellness and saw the importance of proactive self care to help reduce stress in the body. So, one of her bigger questions is what if people could stop a disease process by learning better ways to deal with their stress? And that is exactly what kind of inspired your journey, right?
Absolutely.
And she found biofeedback was the answer or is the answer. So she received her certification as a biofeedback specialist in 2019, and she created and right, you're business owner of Renew Biofeedback.
Yes.
And so I'm just gonna like pause there and let you kind of do the rest so I don't butcher it, because I have had some biofeedback frequency healing sessions, and had some sessions with the Rife machine as well. But I definitely don't totally or would not be able to articulate or feel comfortable, sharing how it works, what it is, anything like that. So wherever you want to begin.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Well, as you had said in my bio, I've been a nurse for, geez, well over 35 years. And always in my nursing, I was saying to myself, what if we could have had better coping skills in the beginning? What if we would have learned better proactive self care? And that really led me to biofeedback because biofeedback allows me to help people where they are in their body and really can start to look at the root cause of what led stress in the body to cause an illness. Most diseases, 80% of diseases come from long-term underlying stress in the body. Scientists have proven that stress complicates a host of health problems. Stress can influence like aging, inflammation, heart disease, metabolic syndrome, digestive issues that lead to anxiety. And as people go visit Western medicine, a lot of times they're just giving a medication, or a doctor will say, I don't really know what's going on. So I love that biofeedback can go in and look at frequencies in the body. And I love that it's all science based. So you had talked about a lot of people don't understand what biofeedback is. Old forms of biofeedback really just looked at heart rate variability and how does our heart rate increase when we're stress? How can we lower our heart rate and our blood pressure by breathing? Well, now biofeedback has really grown and is much more sophisticated. I have what's called a quantum biofeedback system. And when I go in and I hook clients up, they have sensors on their forehead, wrists, and ankles. The program looks at 15,000 volumetric signatures in the body that look at muscle tension, heart rate, and brain waves. But it goes even deeper to see where the stress is held in the body. And how does it do that? It does it through frequencies. We all know that at a cellular level, we are all energy beings and everything has a frequency. And for example, in a healthy body, all cells operate at an ideal frequency as nature intends it. But if a body is unbalanced, cells start to vibrate differently. And that emits electromagnetic waves that are not optimal. So quantum biofeedback comes down to exploring different frequencies in the human body, and it operates to re-educate those frequencies if it needs to. And it also, as it goes in and optimizes, it sends a ripple effect of these healing frequencies through the body, so it restores the body so people start to feel better and can make corrective changes in their body. So I love that I a client can come to me, we can look at those 15,000 signatures of frequency in the body and start to optimize it. One of the things that I love is biofeedback restores the body through stress reduction protocols, muscle re-education, relaxation training, pain management, and brainwave relaxation. That's kind of the what biofeedback is known for. One of the things as I started on this energy journey and I got my biofeedback system, I really started to learn more about the science behind how does the biofeedback system work, right? Um, Now we know that through the Schumann wave, people understand frequency more. And if you don't know what the Schumann wave is, I encourage you to go in and research that. The Schumann wave is the heartbeat of the earth. It vibrates at 7.83 megahertz. Everything in our universe comes from that energy up into our bodies. That is a quantum physics um, understanding of the Schumann wave. What do I love about my biofeedback system? When I start a session, I go in and activate the Schumann wave for my clients. That gives a syncing with my client energetically to the frequency of the earth. And that's how the biofeedback system then can start to look at the different frequencies within the body.
So that
Now
makes
we know that, so, oh,
no,
go ahead.
go ahead. That well, I was thinking like when you said the Schumann wave, same as the Schumann resonance. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's the
That would
same
be
thing.
one of the benefits of grounding, right? Walking barefoot on
Absolutely,
connect with
absolutely.
that Schumann wave. I mean, I'm sure
It
there's more, but
No, no, you're exactly right. And we know now too that the Schumann wave syncs with solfeggio frequencies. We know that the Schumann wave syncs with our brain waves, alpha, beta, gamma, delta brain waves. All of those are synced together. So the biofeedback system goes in and is able then to send corrective frequencies to balance the body. Um, I was going to say uh, about my biofeedback system. As it goes in, we know that the human body resonates at a frequency, I think it's 68 to 74. When people get sick, their frequency in the body decreases. People that get cancer, it decreases. People that eat healthy vegetables, they're outside grounding, they're in meditation. All of that raises vibrational frequency. So within the system, it also has rife codes in the biofeedback system. And I love to use those Rife codes. And for some of you that don't know who Dr. Rife was, he was a scientist I believe in the 1940s, and he developed a high-powered microscope. And he was able, with that microscope, to say, this is the frequency of a bacteria. This is the frequency of a virus. And through the high-powered microscope, he was able to see frequencies that would go in and change that cellular structure of those bacteria, viruses, parasites, amoebas, and it would deactivate those organisms and they could be excreted from the body and it would restore health quicker. So I do love that the biofeedback system has the Rife system in it, which is wonderful. So you don't have to use so many different modalities. And I know Elizabeth and I were talking before about all different levels of proactive self-care that we can do. And I work with my biofeedback system a lot of time with other practitioners, other therapists. They might have a client that goes to their talk therapist and then they have a lot of digestive issues, they might have a lot of chronic pain. Well, they can come to me. We can start to optimize the body through sending frequencies to the body that help to eliminate inflammation if they have a lot of chronic pain. It can also We look at the digestive system to help restore the gut microbiome so that the digestive system works better. And then over change, they have to change, if it's the world, and healing is not a one-time fix. Things need to happen too. They need to be changing diet, working on what is holding them back, working on breathing, working on um, other different modalities too, as part of their whole healing process.
A multifaceted approach.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know that a lot of just my reading and then just working with different clients as a body worker, a lot of stubborn, right? Chronic, right? Stubborn, chronic,
Absolutely.
stuff, whether it's disease in the body or physical pain. A lot of times the root cause is definitely further upstream.
Right, right.
Right, or it's
And
emotional a lot of times, and it's not
yeah.
necessarily and the emotions are manifesting physically.
Right. And
And
I find that a lot. Our emotions, typically, if somebody ends up with a chronic disease, what was that emotion or that emotional pain that they stored in the body that over time caused the physical illness? And one of the things I love about this quantum biofeedbacks is it really looks at mind, body, and spirit. And there's a whole neurolinguistic program within the system that we can go in and look at anxiety, look at grief and loss, look at anger, and help to dissipate that energy that's stored in all of those multi levels in the body. And studies have shown that people that are in a lot of prolonged stress, parts of their brain become larger than other parts of the brain. So there are some brain scans within the biofeedback system that help to restore the brain back to some of its normal function, getting rid of inflammation and helping break down those emotional layers, trauma layers, that have caused people to not be able to express themselves. And that's why it works so well with talk therapy, and I was going to say, Nikola Tesla, I love this quote that he said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And
mhm,
that really just resonated with me with the biofeedback system. Um, we even look at yoga and opening up chakras within yoga, that's all energy, that's all frequency. Each chakra has a different frequency and note. And as the biofeedback goes into on the emotional physical realm, it opens up those chakras and opens up that energy flow through the body, which is similar to what people are doing when they're in Reiki also, right? So I often
right, or the acupuncture with what is it, the
ab
key energy, or is it key with
absolutely, absolutely.
all that
And
that energy moving so that we can let go of and release what's no longer serving us.
absolutely, and biofeedback does that. It is able to increase that energy flow through the body. And there are some acupuncture programs in the system that open up all of the meridians. So if you're stuck in a certain meridian, it'll open it up that way. It I mean the vastness of where the system can go is mind blowing for me, and I love that I'm always learning as I'm in the system, but also see the great impact of just really looking at you and I were talking a little bit about that earlier too, about digestion and how digestion really is the core of a lot of issues with people. Even Hippocrates said all disease begins within the gut. And most of the time when clients come to me in that first session, lots of digestive issues pop up. So we go in and we do a lot of digestive restoration through sending frequencies to that digestive system to start to restore the body. And guess what? They have more energy. A lot of anxiety is decreased because we know anxiety is linked with absorption or the body not to absorb nutrients to make neurotransmitters, serotonin and dopamine. So if we can go in and start to relax the body, decreased inflammation, work on restoring digestive system. A lot of times that's the first thing that I will do in a session. And when a client comes to me and we sit down and we start to run the programs, I always ask them, what are 3 things that you would like to see a change in your body after this session? And then that's where I start to look. And usually that's what pops up on the biofeedback system too. And then I can run restorative programs to help clients to feel better. I
Mm.
also send clients home with a gratitude journal because we know through studies that gratitude is really the first step in healing. And if they can start to change some of their neuroplasticity of thinking in their brain, that also helps the body to recover quicker.
One of the things that we did as a family over dinner, we all always said 3 gratefuls.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
everybody went around, and it was harder as the kids got older in high school because, well, I'm grateful for basketball. I'm grateful for basketball practice started. I'm grateful I have a basketball goal. Be like, but
Exactly.
it was something, right?
Mhm, mhm,
And I definitely think, yeah, when you're spiraling, returning to like what is good in your life is it's
mhm,
helpful.
mhm,
So I know a lot does stem from the gut, and that they would say, or many in the functional medicine world would say, all disease begins in the gut.
mhm. Absolutely.
And I've even heard, and I mean, I definitely resonate with this, that even something like addiction
Mhm, mhm,
resonates in the gut, right? A lot of times, and I had a really great conversation with a GAPS coach on Wednesday, and we were, what is it, 90% of the communication between the gut and the brain actually stems from the gut. Is that
mhm.
right? And so if our microbes are off and right, we're trillions more microbes than we are human. If they're out of
Absolutely,
control, right, they're
absolutely.
trying to stay alive. It's not always our willpower, right, that keeps us off the sugar. It doesn't always work, right? It's not because one doesn't necessarily have willpower. So I would think too, right? This could help. I mean, gosh, a whole slew of things, right? Just
Right.
clarity of mind in something like this. So I mean, is essentially like you're trying to get all the cells vibrating at the correct frequency. Is that the goal? Or like on the glands, in the organs,
Absolutely,
stomach,
absolutely.
brain, right? All of this is, and as everything starts to vibrate at the correct frequency, right? Life
Yeah,
begins,
absolutely.
to flourish.
And it restores the body. And, oftentimes, like what you said about the digestive system, it also links with vagus nerve. We know the vagus nerve is exhausted, and it's exhausted from too much stress, same with the sympathetic parasympathetic nervous system. And one of the first things I do at the beginning of a session is I go in and I run a program that helps to restore and send frequencies to optimize the vagus nerve, sympathetic, parasympathetic. So then all the organs start to talk to each other. The body is relaxed. And under the neuro-linguistic panel, there's a program for addiction. I run it, and honestly, it's sending lots of frequencies within the body, and I I can't even question how it works, but my clients that have a lot of cravings, have a lot of tobacco addiction, alcohol addiction, when I run that program, those symptoms decrease. It's mind-blowing, all based on frequency. And, when you were talking about the brain, one of the things that a common side effect of COVID had been this brain fog that people felt. And
Mhm.
there is a brain harmonizing program within the system that takes the right and left side of the brain, the parietal, the frontal, the medulla, and it balances those. And that program of sending frequencies to the brain to balance that optimizes their thinking. Their brain fog goes away. So it is amazing how the system can work. Um, one of the things too is we are 80% water when we are born, and as we age, we drop to about 60% water. But we know through scientific research that frequency is optimized and can be held in water. So hydration is huge for people. Even if you weren't doing biofeedback, hydration is huge for our cells to work optimally, right?
Mhm.
But when those frequencies are stored in the water and can continue to be optimized with the frequency in our body system, that's another way that the energy flows through the body. And that's Dr. Emoto's studies,
Yeah,
right? I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, definitely. And then if you Google his work, you can see, what is it? He sends different energy frequencies to the water,
mhm,
and then the
mhm,
crystals all look different. And the ones that
absolutely.
are vibrating higher are beautiful
Mhm.
under the microscope, and I don't know, the anger, or whatever the other one, some of the darker.
Yeah, they're ugly and distorted, and that is huge, and that is where, there were also some studies about how we talk to ourselves, which further validated his studies, right? If we're saying negative thoughts to ourselves, then our water cells in our body are carrying that negative energy. And studies show that people that have negative thoughts, it decreases their vibrational energy every time they have a thought, I think by like 10 megahertz. But when people are in prayer and meditation, it raises vibrational energy. And that goes with neuroplasticity. And what's fascinating to me is it always comes back to that frequency, right? And that the deep level of how we live our life. We're outside grounded. We're listening to flowers, listening to birds, and people that even come out of the city and come back into nature. That changes vibration too, right?
Oh
It's
yeah,
fascinating the link to that, which has increased my love and a deeper understanding of how the biofeedback system works, right? When I first started to do biofeedback, I didn't understand the realm. I knew my clients got better, and I could see that, and they would come back to me, and this symptom had decreased, or this symptom um, had gone away even. And then as I researched it more at the level of of quantum physics and energy and frequency, it made even more sense to me, which is mind-boggling, right?
yeah.
But the science behind it really has held up to add to explain the success of the system, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and I mean, just with that, I know I mentioned Neville Goddard earlier. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
his statement is "I am," right?
Yes.
That's the statement, "I am." So whatever
Mhm,
you follow that with, right? With,
mhm.
as you said, the thoughts, or
Right,
and a lot of us do have an inner critic that can be pretty beastly,
right,
right?
right.
So, but it's interesting that you said what it drops, and this can be read scientifically, energetically.
It's scientifically read through, you can research that. That's what's mind-blowing, right? The and it goes back to our words have power and how we get better. Even people that are undergoing cancer treatments, a lot of times as I have worked with really chronically sick clients and we're in the biofeedback system, we're also talking about how are you talking to yourself and visualizing your body getting better when you're at home. Are you visualizing your cells getting better, that your healthy cells are attacking the cancer cells and removing them from the body? All of that is also part of healing and also part of like what are you doing outside of a biofeedback session too, after I can help your body get optimized?
Right, yeah, and okay, so I've got, like, oh my goodness, like, so many things. First of all, I think of Joe Dispenza,
Absolutely,
healing his
absolutely.
back,
Mhm,
um,
mhm.
but I also think, that, and that's an incredibly powerful story for those who aren't familiar with Joe Dispenza. Definitely check him out. But it's also not I don't wanna say, it's not necessarily, biofeedback is not necessarily a quick fix.
No.
right?
No.
And there's still work, right? Nothing is
Right.
like no pill, no biofeedback, no nothing is going to replace the own work that we have to do
Mhm.
to take
Yeah.
responsibility, take our power back for our own health and wellness.
Absolutely. I have a great story. I had a man come to me, he was in his late 50s, a businessman, and he had so much abdominal pain. He'd been to multiple doctors, had upper GI, lower GI tests. Um, they found nothing wrong with him. So he had just recently started working on some childhood trauma.
Mhm.
So the doctors, I think, when they knew everything physically checked out with him, they sent him to me, and I saw him along with a talk therapist. So I would go in, we would optimize digestion. We worked on a lot of emotional releasing trauma through the body on my weekly sessions with him, and then he would work with his talk therapist. On the sixth session, every time he came to me, the pain would dissipate more and more. His sixth session, he came to me and he said, "You know what? My pain is all gone. Do I need to come and see you anymore?" And I said, "No." I go, "I am here if you need me." But he was doing the work. He was also working on that emotional trauma with the talk therapist, but I was able to work alongside that therapist to optimize his digestive system. We also worked a lot in his muscles and connective tissue within the biofeedback system to help to release where a lot of those traumas were stored for him, in that whole omentum that's around the digestive system. And it was mind blowing. That was really just such a sweet success story that didn't have to take forever for him to get better.
Right, and of course, I mean, none of us want chronic clients, right? Because
No, no.
that isn't, then they're not getting well. I can relate in my early 30s. Now, I think
Mhm.
part of this was very deeply rooted. I was 33 to the fact that my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer at 35 and then again at 37. And I had kids similar in age to how old we were when my mother was diagnosed. And I mean, I swear to you, it wasn't breast cancer in particular, but I had everything under the sun.
Mhm.
My
Mhm.
anxiety was through the roof. I doctor Googled until I was green. I had tests.
Yeah, yeah.
I faked chest pains to have more tests, and they could not find one freaking thing wrong with me because I was having tremendous anxiety. I think ultimately I had this fear that I would be, you know, diagnosed with something and die and leave my kids motherless at 35. I was 33. Now, I moved through that. Every once in a while,
Mhm.
like, I know that little bug exists if I get carried away.
Yeah, yeah.
But I have also a greater plethora of tools now to and resources to, call on when my mind starts to go banana.
Right, right.
So anyway, I wanna share this resource, though, because I found this. I literally, it was like I was plagued. I walked into Half Price Books, and there in front of me, this is to me the way energy, the universe, God, source
Oh,
energy
yeah. Oh,
works.
yeah, yeah.
Planted in front of me a used book called They Can't Find Anything Wrong.
Ah.
7 Keys to Understanding, Treating, and Healing Stress Illness by David Clark, MD. I swear to you, I read it from cover to cover, and then after that, I didn't go to doctor for 8 years. I was done. But it, like, literally, I'm like, I have to change my brain.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know what messages I told myself, but something shifted. And but I was definitely seeing, different people, and I might have even had a homeopath who was really cool, who did help use the Bach flower remedies and
Oh, yeah, yeah.
but it wasn't. But this sometimes anyway, sometimes there's just things, and energetically, even just like sometimes we're led to people, things, places, books,
Right.
and you know to me it's all something greater energetically at work than we can fully comprehend. um just to shift so we can work with the gut. And I know a lot of kids um, struggle with gut issues. They
Mhm,
gravitate
mhm.
towards all the crappy foods, lots of cheese and grains and carbs and sugars. And so many kids are eating the dyes. And obviously, there has to be some work at home to kind of remove some of this stuff. But when we're thinking about this ADD, ADHD epidemic, uh, this biofeedback, I mean, I'm going to assume that it could be an incredible tool to integrate into, especially if you want to go the non-medicated route.
Absolutely. So, just recently, I had worked with a boy. He had a tethered cord, and then when they went in to repair the tethered cord, it made him become like a go into a catatonic, paranoid state. Right. So I went in. We optimized his digestive system, which was helpful, but that doesn't help the racing of brain. So there is a whole brain wave program within biofeedback, and it looks at all your alpha, beta, delta, gamma brain waves. And it also looks at balancing them so your brain has normal waves. And that really, it was fascinating to see his brain start to slow down. He would start to feel better. But it wasn't just me that worked with him. I mean, they had to put him on medications, but it really does work. That was an extreme case, but for most children that maybe just struggle with ADHD and focus, digestive system, brain balance system can make a huge difference on a child. Absolutely. And then diet changes too, and adding a probiotic, right?
Yeah.
All of those things together can make a huge difference. And it gives clients hope and their parents hope too. I oftentimes will see clients that they've been to multiple doctors, they've had this pain, digestive issues, they feel horrible, and after one session, they feel better and it gives them hope to continue to work on their body and to feel better. Very seldom is it a one-time fix. I wish it was, but when they can see corrective changes in their body, they have more energy. They can start then to make more changes at home too, which makes their progress go quicker.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, it would be great if it was a one-time fix.
I want it to be, but it often isn't.
Yeah, but then I think, okay, right. So I was at a yoga class last night, and one of the men was talking about, the need for the struggle of the monarch butterfly in order
Mm,
to build its strength. When they took
yeah,
away the struggle, the monarch could not fly.
right.
So, in my, I mean, opinion, belief, that, we are here to grow and evolve and to feel the
Mhm.
struggle so that we can evolve and expand
Absolutely.
and,
Absolutely.
grow. So, there's just the part of me that wants the easy way out, right? But the other part of me knowing that, what do we have to gain if we haven't, I don't know, put in some of the work,
Right.
you
I
know?
agree, I agree. And it does go with we all have a certain level of personal responsibility, right? In
Yeah.
our healing journey. And that can be too one of the things you said earlier, Elizabeth, which was so important is look for signs that, God or the universe is sending you by putting people in your path, putting that book in your path, going to a yoga class, going to see a biofeedback practitioner, putting those things will be put in your path for a reason, right? If
Yes.
something resonates with you, it's probably something you need to be doing, right?
Yeah. I mean, I know for me, it's like in threes. And once I've heard it three times, I'm like,
Mm,
oh, this must mean something,
right,
I need
right,
to
right,
researching it, looking it up, getting certified in it.
right.
I mean, typically it's been threes. I mean, like throughout my life. And it's usually threes in a pretty short amount of time, 2, 3
Mhm,
weeks, you know, "Oh, okay,
mhm.
you're the 3rd person." Like, coffee enemas has come up this
Yeah.
week, and that's,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
for some reason, and then it popped up in my feed from somebody else. I'm like, "Okay," and then I'm Googling, benefits of coffee enemas because 'cause I'm not sure I'm ready for that on my own, but,
right,
you know
right.
but I do know it's in my vortex now, and it's something, yeah, I'll probably give it a try. Um,
Yeah.
so real quick, because I know we could talk forever. I know it seems like a radical change from nursing to frequency medicine.
Oh,
You know
well,
what I 'Cause, like, how did you a lot of people can't, dip their toes in even, and so that's
right,
what I love about
right.
you is that you're a nurse, and then you're also integrating in what I, would consider one an amazing, healing modality and, again, a tool, resource, with clients. I guess you left nursing? I mean, like, it seems like a radical, so what allowed you to even, like, look through that lens?
Oh, god. You know what, my husband and I lived in California 35 years ago, and I had a girlfriend that was a nurse, and she worked with biofeedback to help children with ADHD, right? And then the last 15 years before I retired from my nursing, I worked at an elementary school. And what was fascinating about working in an elementary school is the amazing ability. So I had got my Reiki master while I was there at
Mhm.
the at elementary school. So children would come in all of the time into my office, and I could have them lay down. I could use some Jinsu Jitsu, which is energy medicine to dissipate, worry and fear in their body. I could massage their hands where I knew reflexology to help ease the anxiety for them. I could do Reiki on children as they were resting, and we had lots of staff's children that knew I really had a holistic thinking, and I would say, "Do you mind if we can try this natural remedy on their children?" Always with, consent from parents. And you know what? I saw these amazing results where you didn't need medication, to see children feel better. And so when I retired, I thought, you know what? I wasn't ready to be done in this helping people to feel better in life. And I had gone to see another practitioner. My daughter and I had gone on a trip to Africa. And when we got back from Kenya, I wanted to make sure I didn't have any parasites and amoebas in my body and that my digestive system was healthy. And I'd gone to a biofeedback practitioner for her just to check out our body for optimum wellness. And I was like, this is what I'm doing next. It just seemed it was a natural fit for me. I got the science behind it. I understood the frequency part of it. And I thought, what a great way to continue to help serve people for them to live a healthier, happier life. And it just has skyrocketed for me. I've loved every moment that I've been doing it.
Yeah, and then, of course, it's a treatment or therapy that, uh, doesn't have, detrimental side effects that would require
Absolutely.
pharmaceutical to
Absolutely.
counteract the side effects from the first medication. I mean, I'm always going to, lean towards something where I don't have to take a pill.
Right. Right. And it's non-invasive, and Vanderbilt, even on their website, uses biofeedback. And a lot of times they'll use it for cancer patients to help offset the side effects of chemotherapy, to help their bodies to recover. And it's a class 2 medical device. So a lot of insurance would cover it. I don't A lot of practitioners don't take insurance, but HSA or their Medflex covers it because it is um, a class 2 medical device, which is
Wow.
wonderful. So
Oh,
our Western medicine does acknowledge it as a way to help people as a supportive therapy for a lot of patients in the hospital.
oh, so that's really great to know. I didn't know. I think I'd heard that they use it at the Mayo Clinic, maybe.
Mhm, mhm. And I think Vanderbilt, it's becoming more and more. And I know Norton even, uses a lot of holistic means now in their program to help women or men as they recover from cancer, which is wonderful.
Oh, absolutely. I know that, so when I'm a stretch therapist and a massage therapist and then teach Pilates and yoga. Um, I started renting from a woman, subleasing
Mhm,
I
mhm,
currently lease have my little studio.
mhm,
She was, I don't know if she was a nurse, but she was a Reiki practitioner
mhm,
who was, for a while there, Norton was offering
mhm.
6 Reiki sessions, 6 Pilates sessions, and 6 massage
Yeah,
for
yeah,
oncology patients. They all got that free.
I
Um,
love that.
and the Reiki was one of them. So, they're not offering this if they don't think somewhere it's not
Yeah.
beneficial, right?
Right. I'm gonna look if I can find it quickly. Norton does a holistic conference every year, and I went last year, and it was wonderful. And I'm thinking it's coming up, and as we're talking, why have I not signed up? Um, all right, here we go. Oh, if I can find it, maybe not.
Well, if you don't find it, I can definitely include it in the show notes. And, I don't know who it's open to, but um, we can definitely include that in the show notes.
Absolutely. I'll see if I can find it.
So, real quick,
I do. It makes me hopeful that the world is opening up. Okay, it's this one is coming up. It's the 8th Integrative Health and Wellness Symposium. Oh, forget it. It was May 9th. Next year.
next year.
Next year. But just know that the world is opening up to those modalities. And I love that Norton is the forefront of that. So this was their eighth year of doing it.
Well, that's
So
cool. That's good to
yeah,
know. Yeah, hopefully more and more people will open up and learn.
yeah.
It's again, just dip your toes in a little bit and see. Sometimes we don't know how something will work right until we give it a little go.
Right.
So,
Right.
so where can people find you?
I have my offices at Fox Hollow Farm, if you know where that is, off of 329 in Crestwood. And I am on Instagram as Renew Biofeedback. And my website is renewbiofeedback.com. So,
And then do you see people one on one? Can you see people virtually, or is it all in person?
I can do both. Biofeedback is more effective in person and being hooked up to the system, but I do see clients distance, and I have to tell you that has been shocking to me how well they feel afterwards. I have a man that has Parkinson's, and I see him once a week in my office, and the next week I run him distance and I just restore his myelin sheath. And we have seen such a great difference in him by doing that. And that's all weirdly enough science-based also. When you look at the Schumann wave, and it's called an autoscalar wave through quantum physics, that is what allows the system to reach someone distance-wise. Just like, and I explain it a little bit, like how does the telephone how if we dial someone's number, how does it find us in space, right? It goes through the satellite system, correct? But we know collectively the power of prayer. When we're all together and we're targeting one person and we are praying for that person, people get better. And that's sending that vibrational frequency to that person crazily enough through this autoscalar wave through intention. So the system finds the person that I work with through their name, date of birth, and city and state they were born in. No one has that same code to get to them. I know it's crazy, and if it sounds really too way out there, please just come and see me in person and experience the
Yeah,
biofeedback system,
yeah,
know?
yeah, I know for some that might be a little.
Oh, it's a lot. I have literally been on Zoom calls though with women for a nonprofit that I work with, and a woman would say, "I have this just excruciating sinus headache." And for fun, I would challenge the system. I'd say, "How about when we get off this Zoom call, let's run you on biofeedback just for your sinuses, right?" And it is shocking. They'll go, "My sinus is cleared and I feel great." Can I explain that? Through the quantum physics realm, I guess it can be explained, but through the way energy can travel through space, it's shocking.
When you think about, the TV way, right? I mean, that they're coming.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's just, yeah. So,
I usually, Elizabeth, don't go there on a call because it just sounds so ridiculous. So for most people, I think in person is better until they understand the system
yeah,
and feel
I agree.
comfortable with the system, and then it will make more sense because sometimes they'll even go, "I don't even understand how I feel so good and my body has corrected just by having straps attached to my forehead, wrists, and ankles," right?
Yeah,
And, um,
yeah, but they do.
yeah, they do,
Sometimes
they
you have
do.
to just, again, that's that faith. I think,
Yeah,
sometimes there are things that are just beyond what we can truly comprehend.
mhm,
Like we can
mhm.
logically comprehend it, but so I think that's again, you hear just like even spontaneous healings. It's just, there are things, right?
Yeah,
It's just that there are forces that we cannot always put our
yeah.
finger
And
on.
I do have some really good books. Oh, here, I've even got it right here. It's called the Energy Medicine, the Scientific Basis. And I was working with a chiropractor once, teaching him the biofeedback system. He was very science based, and he'd find these books and go, "Robin, this explains the Schumann wave. This explains the autoscalar wave through quantum physics and why it works." So there's a lot more literature out there than we know about
Oh, and
why
Candace Pert.
why it works through the quantum physics realm, even just all of Stephen Hawking's work within that energy realm. And some people don't even care to know the science behind why something works. I love the science behind it because it just validates for me and then helps me explain it to my clients too at a different level for them
Yeah,
to understand.
there are definitely a lot of people who are going to be they want to know the science.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
they can't really even won't even, whereas I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it resonates in my body. I just feel that makes sense." That's what
Yes. Yeah.
I needed.
Absolutely.
Like, I go around people and
Yeah.
with people,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
that are like, "Well, where's the science? What kind of science do you have?" I don't know.
Mhm.
Makes sense. I'm gonna do it, right? Yeah,
Absolutely. Which is why, you know what, I love books like this
yeah.
because it really will resonate with people that it was funny recently, I had done several biofeedback sessions on a man who is a professor at Baylor. And some of the thought provoking questions that he pushed me to in the realm of my biofeedback to understand the science of it was just mind boggling. And I loved it because I don't think at that level, but he pushed me to think at a higher level within my system. So it's fun to be pushed. It's fun to be challenged in life, right? To be able to explain why things work, because there is a science behind it, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and I just know that definitely when you enter into this realm, there's just you can't first of all, you can't unknow what you now know. And you also realize that there's so much more knowing and you'll never know it
Yeah.
all. Like, you just
Yeah.
want to keep
Oh, 100%.
going. Well, thank you so much
Oh
for
my gosh, you're so welcome. Thank you for having me, Elizabeth. I loved it. I loved us connecting too. It was
yeah, likewise.
wonderful.
So make sure you all follow Robin or find her for sure at Renew Biofeedback on Instagram. Renew Biofeedback
Yes.
com. All
Yep.
the links will be in the show notes. And then if you're local, is out at Fox Hollow Farm, which just in and of itself is the most healing space.
Mm. It's a
Um,
beautiful
it's
space.
gorgeous. So it's definitely worth checking Robin out
Mhm.
there. I mean, it's just amazing. So, again, thanks so much for joining
Oh,
me.
you're so welcome. Thank you for having me, Elizabeth.
I look forward to future conversations.
Oh, me too. Me too.
Yeah.